Hi everyone, Reece from the Football Plug here, and today we're going to be talking about Arsenal's new signing, Fabio Vieira. Now this signing came out of absolutely nowhere for most Arsenal fans and everyone. There was no concrete links or rumours towards Arsenal going in for Fabio Vieira, and it did seem a position that Arsenal weren't even really going to look for. Links to Tielemans and Ruben Neves seemed to be a bit more of a box-to-box midfielder than a more attacking midfielder. Now straight away, Fabio Vieira is 22 years old. He's a left-footed player that can also play cam, number 8, right wing and sometimes left wing. I wouldn't really think he's going to be used there. Now, Fabio Vieira is Portuguese and played for Porto last year. He helped Porto reclaim the league title after losing it to Sporting the year prior and only losing one league game. Obviously, he isn't a real starter for the team. He hasn't started this year. It's publicly known that he hasn't really had that many starts. I think he's only had 15 league starts. He's played 27 games in all competitions, but he has 14 assists and 6 goals, which is a brilliant output. His starts also increased when Luis Diaz left, because Luis Diaz obviously being on the left made him reshuffle around the front line for Porto, and he ended up getting a lot more game time and being very vital in them winning the league. Porto play a bit of a system where people aren't really in set positions. Everyone kind of moves about and works off each other. Even Taremi and Otavia like to work off each other, and that's why all of them have brilliant output numbers. They're all very good creative players, and Porto are a very good attacking team in Liga NOS this year. Now, statistics in the Portuguese league seem to be a bit hard to find certain things. FBref obviously do not do XG in their league, so it's hard to kind of gauge if he's overperforming or underperforming his XG. I mean, I can guess he's probably overperforming it from the fact he's only had 1,300 minutes in the league, and an output like that is very abnormal, so he must be outperforming it realistically. Got 14 assists. All we need to know that his output is very good and he's been very healthy for this year for Porto. And Arsenal are getting a player that in a year's time, a lot of people are expecting to be the next big thing. Maybe this is a bit early and, you know, he's developed well this year, but next year he's really going to kick on and be, you know, that Bruno Fernandes sort of like level of player in the Portuguese league, Darwin Núñez like player. Arsenal have gone in there early, got him for less than his release clause. His release clause is 50 million euros, and they've ended up getting him for 40 million euros. It's about 35 million euros up front, 5 millions in add-ons, which is nowadays in the market. It's good transfer. You can make good signings out of that. And he's only 22 years old, so he's got a lot to play for. Now, obviously, Fabio Vieira hasn't been capped for Portugal yet. Obviously, they've got a lot of depth in the midfield, so it's probably hard for him to get into the team. However, with that being said, Fabio Vieira played over 20 times for the under-21s for Portugal, and last year in the under-21 European Championships, he got player of the tournament, which is not an easy task at all. There's a lot of amazing players in that tournament. In England, everyone talks about their youngsters they have got knocked down in the group stage, I'm pretty sure. There's been a lot of confusion about the sign of Fabio Vieira because he is very attacking. His defensive numbers aren't great and he's not a great presser, which Arteta is going to have a look at. With him traditionally being a sort of number 10 role / right winger, and Odegaard and Saka being pretty much nailed on starts for Arsenal, it's going to be interesting to see where Arteta places him in the team. And he might have sporadic minutes in the league, with most minutes coming in the Europa League, Carabao Cup and FA Cup to start the season. He gives competent sort of backup without having to rely on youngsters that we don't know how well they're going to do, and people like Reece Nelson and stuff that we just I don't think they're going to really make a difference for Arsenal. It also means players like Smith Rowe, which Arteta doesn't see as a cam, and I've heard that Smith Rowe himself doesn't really feel confident in that position a lot of the time, and he's traditionally even a further back centre mid or a left winger as backup and to rotate with Martinelli, because our players were just playing too much last season and to the end of it. With the centre mid spot, obviously there's been linked with Tielemans still, and I think Smith Rowe could still fill in there maybe. It depends what you play, because Smith Rowe doesn't really work as much as with a lot of the players that we have. But I think Tielemans will still be pushed for Arsenal. The strengths of Fabio Vieira is a lot about his technical ability. His vision and how he'll look up and find passes is brilliant. And someone, let's say like Odegaard's a brilliant creator, but Odegaard likes to run with the ball and, you know, pick passes through. And it gives a good rotation with Odegaard. It gives us good options going forward. And at the end of the day, it's good depth. And he's 22 years old, and I reckon in 1 year, with the amount of heat around him, he probably would have got a bigger transfer. I mean, people like Liverpool were looking to him. When Liverpool don't get signings wrong, they just don't in the last few years. So if they're looking at someone and really considering him, then, you know, you've got to think Arsenal must have thought, you know, he's also good. So it's going to be interesting, but I think it's a brilliant signing for Arsenal. Another major thing for the transfer of Fabio Vieira is needing and wanting left footers. Left footers in football are worth a lot more, I feel like, than right footers just in general. As you can see, left centre back market, the left back market, like left centre midfielder, and also right winger, because obviously you play left footers and right wing. Just a lot harder to get players that you want. It's a lot less depth. Might as well try and get one now as cheap as possible before, you know, you come in next year. Because if Fabio Vieira would have had a great season, there's no way Arsenal would have been able to get him realistically. Depending on where Arsenal were, where they come next year. If we get top 4, you know, I just don't think that he would come. He might even look for higher. He might, you know, if Liverpool go in, realistically, you're choosing Liverpool over Arsenal right now, especially in their rotatable midfield. I think overall it's a great signing for Arsenal, and they should be happy with this. Obviously, it's the third transfer this window with Marquinhos and Matt Turner coming in as well. But it'll be interesting. I want to see what some of the other teams do, and obviously transfers don't mean everything. You still got to have a competent team. I think we've all figured that out after Liverpool this year. But overall, it's a really good start for Arsenal. Now, this is my first video on the channel. I'm going to be doing more transfer news and transfer opinions and sort of how players fit into systems. And I want to gauge everyone's opinion in the comments of what they want to see from me. I'm going to do, you know, football content as much as possible. Obviously, leading up to the World Cup, I want to do a lot of World Cup content. Thank you for watching, and yeah, please subscribe if you like the content.